Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. Today I would like to talk about awesome characters. But what makes an awesome character? That's probably among the most difficult questions ever pondered in human history. On one hand, it all comes down to opinions. However, there is a reason why some characters are universally loved, while others are hated. Not to mention the ones that fall into the meh category, which I guess that's worse than the hated, but I digress. The question remains, how am I going to approach this? From a subjective or from an objective perspective? The answer is both. I will present to you a few of what in my own personal opinion are the best characters that have ever been created, while doing my best in presenting objective reasons. But I want to clarify, there are great characters that I will not mention in this video, mainly because of time restrictions. Also, this is in no particular order, so let's begin. First character, Spider-Man. He is by far my favorite superhero from the comics. And when I say from the comics, I mean all of the comics. Funny enough, my first encounter with the Friendly Neighbor was through the 90s animated series. That was such a good show. And today I'm the proud owner of a small but growing collection of Spider-Man comics. Now, he's by no means the most powerful, let's be real. He's probably not even in the top 20. And he's not the best hero either. But what makes him great is his sense of humor. He's always, or like 90% of the time, making jokes. And not gonna lie, most of the time he just makes me laugh, or at the very least chuckle. I mean, just think about it. He will face some of the most notorious villains. I'm talking Venom, Scorpion, Sandman, and many others who want to tear him apart. Sometimes they will even team up against him, and he will face them alone while joking around. Now, if that's not cool, I don't know what is. And I am aware that he's not the only funny one. Deadpool, it's hilarious. But because of the nature of his powers, he has the luxury of fooling around. On the other hand, Spider-Man needs to focus to stay alive during a fight. Sure, he has the spider sense, which is a massive advantage, not saying it isn't, but even so, making jokes while you're being attacked with deadly intentions, it's next level. But it goes deeper than that. Many times, civilians with no power whatsoever find themselves in the middle of super-powered beings. Naturally, they're scared for their lives, and that's one of the main reasons Spider-Man will be joking, to help put them at ease. While saving their lives, he will help them cope with the stressful situation with some witty humor, and that's beautiful. The next character I want to talk about is White Fang, part wolf, part dog, totally awesome. To explain why, I'm afraid I have to include some spoilers. From an early age, he is forced to become a fighting dog. This lifestyle led him to become overly aggressive. Understandable, of course. Luckily for him, things changed when Whedon Scott entered his life, as he showed him love and respect. And the first thing I want to point out is, despite his previous experiences, he gave Scott a chance, not right away, and it wasn't easy for him to trust the human, but he did, and I love that. Now, living with Scott, he became docile. For years, White Fang will fight other dogs, but now, living with Scott, who owned other dogs besides White Fang, fighting and killing other dogs, or other domestic animals for that matter, was a big no. Rule that he will respect even when some jerks will urge their dogs to attack White Fang. He did not defend himself right away because of his love for Scott, and I think that's lovely. Of course, Scott had no problem with White Fang fighting against those who attacked him. Once it was clear for him, White Fang laid waste over those dogs, and after that he was left alone. He also had to deal with children who will be anything but kind, but not necessarily malicious. In those cases, he suppressed his most basic instinct for the sake of others. In a world that can be described as selfish, White Fang is a perfect contrast, forgetting his wild nature and being an all-around good boy. The next character I want to talk about is Ethany. At this moment, she is not as well known as the other characters presented on this video. Hopefully, that's changed soon. With that in mind, I want to invite you to read Ethany by Anne Malone. Link will be in the description. It's a dark fantasy. Now, that's the first book of a series. I've only read the first book so far. I will definitely keep on reading all the other books that are part of her tale. But believe me, the first book is enough to fall in love with this character. Alas, it is impossible for me to break down her awesomeness without spoilers, but still, read the book. Now, Ethany got captured by a leash. I'm not going to explain how he captured her, not just to avoid further spoilers, but because that scene makes me angry. And this is a Happy Vice video. So, I'll leave that for another time. The leash wanted to know as much as possible from her name and species, down to the most unnecessarily intimate details. The easiest way was to simply ask. Now, Ethany was at total disadvantage here. The only arrow on her quiver was to pretend she could not understand him. However, the leash knew she could understand him. I won't explain how he knew, but he did. It's here with Ethany using her native language delivers the best line in the book. Ga, jumping a volcano, not going to lie, it hyped me. Yes, it sounds like something a 5-year-old will say. Probably that's what makes it perfect. First, this depicts her intelligence. By using her native language to discourage the leash, there was the risk, however small, of the leash knowing her language, and she knew it. That shows she doesn't give a fuck. Later on, through torture, he managed to make her talk. At first I thought it was because the leash broke her, but upon revisiting, I see now he did not break her. No one breaks Ethany. She simply adopted a new strategy, as her initial plan was not working. All in all, she keeps her cool, as her only focus was to escape. I will stop here. There are many more instances that showcase her awesomeness, but I want you to experience them on your own. That's why I only point out a particular instance at the beginning of the book. Well, I will add one more thing. Every interaction with the princess named Nagishima, I will offer no context. Trust me, you will get it when you read it. Again, link in the description. The final character is Gerda from the Snow Queen. I'd say spoiler alert, but if you have not read the Snow Queen by now, sorry, but that's on you. Now, Gerda is a kid who lived a normal life alongside their friend Kai when bad luck struck. Kai got hit on the eye and the heart by the splinters of an evil mirror, turning the once kind boy into a mean, cold person. In addition, the Snow Queen took him away, and now was up to Gerda to save him, and she did not think it twice. She wanted her friend back and went on a life-threatening adventure to rescue him. Not just from the Snow Queen, but from the mirror pieces that changed him. Also, I want to point out that the fact that Gerda was willing to save him, despite of how he treated her after his change of personality, sure, it wasn't his fault, but still, I mean, it's impossible not to love her. And while she gets some help along the way, Gerda goes on her own to rescue Kai from a person who has snow ice magic powers. Now, my dear people, it is what I call super. Well, that's it for today. I know there are many more awesome characters, but I want to know, who do you think falls into that category? Also, what do you think of the characters I'll talk about here? Please share your thoughts on the comment section. Remember to like and subscribe. Also, follow me on my socials. Check out the Project Sare, which has its fair share of awesome characters, if I say so myself. Also, take a look at my stores, where I have a great variety of products with super cool designs that could be perfect for you or a loved one, but that's not all. If you require a personalized design, I'm more than happy to do something for you, something that's exclusive and no one else will have. Don't forget to get a copy of Ethany. All the links down below. Until next time, bye bye!